Hey everybody, this is Derick, the six-figure business credit, and I really want to talk about the value of holding the properties that you're able to pick up along the way. And through through time, we as a people are getting better with how to leverage, how to use that. But one thing that I think we keep messing up on is selling things that grow in value, selling it too fast. And now I'm a living, walking example of that. I have regretted every single property that I've sold, every single one. Because when I double back and look at the numbers again, I'm mad at myself. Because the reason that I sold typically wasn't an emergency. It wasn't something that's needed. If I needed money, I could have found a better way. I didn't have to sell something that was used to get a great income base. So I'm trying to toe the line. Like right now, I have some properties that the value is so. One of them is about to double, and that makes me like, maybe I should take that 200 and run. But when I look back at the ones that I sold, I'm really bothered. Right. So I'm gonna go through my first property, just give you an outlook. My first investment property, that is, where it was purely just for profit. See the numbers, how it worked out, some of the things I regret, and then we get to see the numbers now. So I'm gonna go to Refin just to show the property in itself. Let me share it on screen. All right, so this is refin.com. Okay, so 17. Okay, so this is the property, right? This is the now Refin estimated value. So Refin tend to be the better valuation out of like the Zillows, Trulias, at least from my perspective, right? Now, unless you have somebody who has access to the MLS who could give you the exact comps right now, but this is how much these similar houses are selling for. Now, this is a was a 3 bed, 1.5 bathroom condo. Right? I picked this property up from an auction from Hudson and Marshall. I had picked it up in 2015. I picked this property up for um, 17,000. Right? It had a tenant in it, and it had some issues where it looked like it was molding in it. So before I picked it up, while we was bidding on the auction, I actually went, knocked on the door. I asked the tenants what was going on and see so I could see the property, tell them that, we're interested in buying it, but I'm not the owner. I'm just an inspector coming to look for the property owner. And it was a family living there, right? Like professional tenants, we call them, people that's been living there so long that they know all the rules to the game. So I asked them, um, do they have do they have somebody they paying rent to? And they said, oh, the 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 owner hasn't collected rent from them in a while. So that's a tenant's way of saying that they ain't paying no rent. They chilling. They've been there for a while, right? Nobody been bothering them. So I said, okay, cool. So the company that I work for, we about to buy it. We just want to make sure if anything they need. So what I did there is kind of put it in the head that I'm here to help. I'm not here to kick them out, and just kind of set that up before we actually acquire the property and move it forward. So she let me in. I looked at it had mold in the bathroom, and it wasn't that bad. It wasn't like mold where somebody have to break into walls. It was the mold that you could kind of place the bleach on it and just get rid of it, right? It was airflow problem. Now I even my non handy ass, like I figured that out real quick. So I said, cool. So I went and finished the bid. I acquired the property, and I had a family friend, right, come and look and give me an estimate for the renovation. So he gave me an estimate. The estimate was this 13,000. Right, that includes his labor, all the materials, because it wasn't really in bad shape. Pieces were together. It just needed to be modernized slightly. Right. So now I picked it up for 17, and renovations is 13. Am I right? The renovation was 13. So 17, 13. So I'm in it for 30. Right. The people living there, told them that we're gonna come and fix stuff. We're gonna add appliances. So the renovation itself, that's a whole different story. The contractor wanted to get all the money. He didn't want to add anybody else to it. So it took 6 months. What should have took maybe 2 or 3 months, right? Contractors. And he left without completing the job. So I had to pay another contractor to actually finish and put up the fence. But the main point was that I fixed it. I had to evict those tenants because I was having problems with them rent wise, and I got a new tenant in there. The rent I was collecting over there was 1750. Now I didn't have any mortgage on the property, and the taxes. Let me see if the taxes have changed that much since I had it. Right. So the current estimate is 191, which is mind-boggling to me. But the taxes back then was like on 4,500 annually. All right. So you see this part right here, the 70, that was me. Yeah, see, so the taxes haven't changed that much. So that was the taxes. And I rented it out for 1 year. And then after a year, we was getting ready to we was thinking about changing directions. So I collected rent for literally 1 year. So let me look at my calculator. It was 1750 times 12, which is 21,000 annually, minus 4 5 for the taxes. So I made 16,005, and the 1 year was rented. And then I sold the property. I sold the property for 70K. I sold the property, so I picked it up in, what was it? Hold on. I picked it up in 15. I sold the property in actually 17 for 70,000. Here's the wonder of it all. Right? After selling it, I always get these alerts from Redfin, and when I look, I'm disturbed because I sold it for 70, and it's been it's been 7 years. Now it's worth, or it could be sold between 180 to 207. So I left so much money on the table, so much money on the table, which is why I always tell anybody, it don't matter where you live. We kind of try to pick up houses in certain areas, but if you're gonna live in a shitty area, buy, own it. It don't matter if you're gonna live in an area where it, just own it. Ownership is one of the biggest ways to avoid what's happening currently with rents. Right, rents are shooting up by 30%, and people are struggling to pay. But if you own it, that thing is consistent for 30 years. So now, this is the regret, right? That I sold this property for 70, and 7 years later, it's worth 200,000. Imagine what that would have done to my net worth and the income I could have kept collecting if I didn't sell it, right? If I didn't sell it. So that's part of leverage, is making sure that you understand the long-term value of things. One of the investment criteria I use now is time horizon, right? Making sure that I'm into something for a length of time where the value makes so much sense on the bottom line of my asset sheets, right? So that essentially is what I wanted to break down. Why you should never ever sell your properties. Now, what I could have done, which I didn't do, was maybe put a line of credit on it, use that money to do what I needed to do, and hold on to the property and keep collecting the income. So that was an alternative that I didn't look at before. So this was my first investment property that I sold for 70K that I regret truly. And I have a few more of those properties that I've sold that we'll get through it. But this is Derek with Six Figure Business Credit, and this is me explaining and sharing why you should never sell your property and hold on to it as long as possible. All right. Have a good one.